Hi, this is Steve Perkins. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Nubeva, and this is an investor up. It's been about 6 weeks since our last update to you in our last news, and we've had a number of different questions. I'm going to try to hit those here in rapid succession. And I suppose the first one, the biggest question that everybody's been asking is, where's your news? News flow, what's going on? First, let me just say there's nothing wrong with the company, but let me explain why we've fallen off our normal cadence for the last few weeks. Uh, First and foremost is that our marketing firm that we had employed, North Equity, the agreement with them ended. And when that happened, at that time, our resources fell off. So naturally, with limited resources, we had to make a choice between sales and marketing activities versus investor relations. I made the hard decision, which is I think we need to focus on selling because that'll post results and make us all happy. But at the same time, we have been searching for a new marketing firm to bring on board. That is not something that I can announce yet, but hopefully that's something that can come together here fairly soon and get us back on pace. While I'm at it here in this general subject, our target is to get about two updates, whether it be formal press releases or news clips like this per month. We believe that that's a reasonable tempo without overburdening the company that keeps you aware of what's going on with the company. And then, of course, our larger is that our quarterly announcements have a fairly detailed discussion in the MD&A about the state of our business. But I do want to make sure that you understand we plan to use press releases as well as this video vehicle for investor communications in an ongoing fashion. Sometimes I'll do the videos, sometimes Randy will do the videos. And at the same time, also, we may put out news through these channels, through video and through social, as well as press releases that may not be targeted towards investor relations. So, we are in the business primarily of selling and marketing ransomware protection solutions, and we do want to communicate to them as well. So I think as you see news articles or press releases that come out, just ask yourself, is this for me or might this be for a customer? At times we'll do a press release and we get a lot of questions saying, what does this have to do with anything? It's trying to help us sell. So if you just be mindful of that, we'll try to do an increasingly better job in our communications to you. As I said, I think we'll get back to our tempo in short order here, and hopefully that'll address that concern. Next item I want to cover is our adoption of artificial intelligence, or AI. A number of weeks back, Randy made some comments about this in a video, and then we commented to it formally in a press release. But apparently, a number of investors didn't quite understand the significance of that. So let me be a little bit more clear. The management of this company believes that through the aggressive adoption of AI-based tools, things like ChatGPT or Bard or all of the derivative tool sets built around those training models, that we can achieve extreme significant upticks in productivity of our developers, of our support staff, our operations team, as well as our sales and marketing team. And we're already seeing those benefits. We saw this very early on. I think maybe now most people are starting to hear about it and understand its significance, some of the buzz that's growing. But let me just maybe bring it home a little bit. Imagine a world where a developer works really hard on a coding strategy and ultimately defines it and creates it. But then instead of trying to figure out how to build a testing to validate a test kit, actually ask AI to test and validate their logic as a big brother looking over their shoulder to make sure they did things right. Or imagine that normally it would take, let's say, up to a month to write a white paper, and imagine compressing that down to a few days. So that the only things left is review and making sure that it's on point. Imagine us being able to customize every email to prospects or customers in the support area that is all done in automated form, researching companies, whatever it might be. All of those things now become trivial tasks so that every employee is not stuck in the mire necessarily of generating every piece of content, but managing content creation and information for their productivity gains. So those are some examples of how this can impact us at every level. And the translation there further is that if we can do more work with the same number of employees, for example, we have leverage in our operating model. We can grow more without adding incremental people. In fact, many ways you could argue that employee headcount starts to become less of a metric of an organization's size as much as employee or company adoption of AI. So that's really it. For you as investors, the significance of this is we believe that we are going to be able to achieve significant operating leverage in our productivity and in our models moving forward by the aggressive adoption. And it's already starting to make an impact. Another question that's come our way is, are you sure, Nubeva, that you can't announce the names of customers and contract details? Let me be very clear. We ask every customer if we can use their name and if we can talk about them publicly, and we ask them if they're okay with us sharing the details of the contract. I could tell you that 99% of all cases, customers say no. Now, that might be different for larger companies or companies that don't have as innovative or leading edge of a technology. But imagine you're a large financial institution and you're looking at our product, or you bought our product to provide a strategic edge, a new layer of defense against ransomware attackers. Do you really want to tell the ransomware attackers what all your layers of defense are? That's what we hear over and over again. No, we would prefer to keep you a secret as long as possible. We'll talk to your other prospects privately, but we don't want any of this being announced, and we're not going to announce it. Further, most of the time they say, and you need to be very careful what you talk about details of this agreement. So that's the first problem. And the second challenge is when we then go and try to be a little bit more obtuse, or start to try to present what we can, we also run into a problem and a challenge with IROC, who has to review all of our public communications, our formal press releases. And they'll say things like, hey, if you can't provide partial details, you have to provide either full details or no details. And so we're stuck a little bit between a rock and a hard place, as customers saying, I'll let you say a little, but not everything. And IROC saying, you can't say just a little, you got to say it all. So we've been trying to thread that needle. Now, I think as we get bigger, customers may not be as reluctant because they're one of thousands of customers sometime in the future and saying, oh, everybody has you, so my admitting that I have you is no big deal. But right now, we are considered to be an exotic technology that represents an amazing strategic position against attackers, and they don't want to say what their defenses are. It's that simple. We are aware of the challenge. Right now, because that's the posture, we've actually decided strategically to embrace it and run with it versus trying to fight it. But rest assured, if and when we can, we absolutely will. But in the meantime, we'll try to just give indications and then ultimately post the scores in our quarterlies. So hopefully that helps you all understand that and understand that we are aware of the challenges beyond you wanting to know. We want to get that information out because it helps us with our sales and marketing, but the situation is what it is right now. And we're going to work forward based off of that, but hopefully that makes that clear. The next item that I want to address is a very, very important nature, and that is we've had a number of you raise concerns to us about illegal and illicit trading activities of our stock, mostly on the TSX side, not the OTC, but things like end-of-day down ticking and circular trading activities, et cetera. Let me first state that we hear you. And secondly, that Nubeva in no way supports or condones any of these types of activities. However, it's also not our job to police the exchanges. We contacted our legal counsel, and they helped us understand what we needed to do. We have forwarded these concerns and expressed concerns on your behalf to IROC. IROC has launched an investigation. They've informed us. They've told us that if they find something, they will pursue that. If they don't, they'll close the case. They won't necessarily inform us. So I will not be able to close the loop with you, but we have done, I believe, our responsibility, which is to raise this issue to the regulatory bodies. If you, in the future, see continued activity like this, please feel free to raise it to our attention. But at the same time, IROC confirms that you are free to contact them directly. You can go to their website. There's all sorts of different points of contact for them where you can express your concerns directly to them as well. So I think it's going to take, in today's day and world, it's going to take all of us continuing to keep an eye out for anything that might be not proper. So let's keep an eye on that. And I thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. Okay. The next item I want to cover is our investor site. We've recently taken our investor site down. As many of you know who had notified us, it had become aged. In fact, the challenge has been that our business is innovating so fast that there's never been a good moment to stop and say, okay, we've stabilized, we've got a good picture of how to represent us. Let's then go and update everything. Finally, we hit a point where we feel two things. Number one is that it's misrepresenting at this point, so we need to take it down. And secondly, is we have made a commitment to do some updating to it. It's not going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but certainly within 60 days is our target to have a new updated investor site that properly represents us, as well as an investor deck that also will properly represent us and be something that you can all turn to understand the state of the business. But we'd also point you to our quarterly filings that actually in the MD&A sections actually clearly articulate the current state of the business and its progression. That is ultimately the source of truth. But that hopefully covers some questions we've had about the investor site and the investor deck. Now, the last comment I just want to make is just a little bit of housekeeping. On a video earlier this year, I had made a comment that I would personally be selling some stock. I did some of that. I paused it because I felt that our stock didn't have enough liquidity and it was a little unstable. I've needed to resume that. I've started that. You'll see some of those postings coming now and over the coming weeks. Again, these are for personal financial reasons. It is in no way indicative of my belief or support in this company. The shares that I'm moving are a rounding error of my position in the company, but they are necessary. So I wanted to just make sure you all heard that once again. Please don't misread those actions as being any faltering of my personal belief in this company and where it's going. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an update on what's going on with Nubeva, addresses some of the tactical questions and concerns that have been coming our way. We expect to resume our news flow, as I said here, very shortly to keep you up to speed. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please launch them our way, send them our way. And if you know of anybody who needs ransomware reversal, we are eagerly awaiting your introduction so we can see if our product's right for them. So thank you very much for your support in Nubeva, and we'll see you again soon.